It's time. Eric Clark, Okayest Hunter, Okayest Eric. I've had Eric on a few times in the past over the years, and it always turns into a really good conversation. And here's what I can tell you. This is going to be rant city. We go on some rants just about the way that we treat people on the internet, the way that we encourage people, and the way that we put people down, the way that we automatically make assumptions about people just by what we see of them on the internet. It is I want to say fun episode, but honestly, we get into some pretty deep stuff. And so I would just encourage you to buckle in and maybe consider how we treat people and how we talk about people on the internet, how we represent ourselves as hunters, and how we encourage other people to represent us as hunters. This episode is brought to you by my friends over at Blocker Outdoors. I love a good set of bottomland camo, and Blocker gives me the ability to do that without breaking the bank. They've got camo for turkeys, deer, western. They've got technical pieces, and it's all going to work together without having to refinance my home. I love Blocker Outdoors because they offer me really good gear at a really good price and a lot of good patterns, especially my favorite, the bottomland. Guys, go check out Blocker Outdoors. No matter what the pursuit is, no matter what your favorite thing to hunt is, I promise you, they've got something for you. Even with the introduction of their new everyday line, their work line, just for things like going out, hanging tree stands, checking trail cameras, working on the farm, they've got you covered. Go check out Blocker Outdoors. Let's jump in with Eric Clark, the Okayest Hunter.
For the true sportsman, it's more than a pastime. It's a way of life. Embrace the lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and the thrill of the wild. Live the life. Be typical.
If you're a hunter, you need to pay attention. And of course you're a hunter because you're listening to the Typical Sportsman podcast. One of my favorite products of all time, Ancient. They make moccasins, quiet moccasins for stalking, or stalkisins, if you will. These things are absolutely dead quiet. I put them to the test just by sneaking through the house to see if I could sneak up on my wife. And they worked. Shot bears with them, chased elk with them. I've shot deer with them. These things hold up. Why? Because they're 100% American made with real leather. Phenomenal products. They are making old school cool again. Guys, listen, if you like to stock up on animals, any kind of stalking, turkey hunting, bear hunting, deer hunting, elk hunting, if you want to get close to animals, you have to walk quietly. I would highly, highly encourage you to go check out Ancient. That's ANXYNT. These are the coolest shoes you'll ever wear. I even rock them. I rock them as everyday drivers, just headed to Walmart because they look stinking dope. Guys, go check them out. Use code Typical Sportsman. It's going to save you 10%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but here's what I'm going to tell you. You're not going to find a discount on these anywhere else. Go check out Ancient. Get you a pair of the baddest shoes you've ever owned and walk quieter and get closer. Eric Clark, the Okayest Hunter. Okayest Eric. That's what I'm going to start calling you from now on. What's up, man? How you been?
I've been okay. Yeah, it's been I don't know. I haven't even had a chance to reflect on the year yet. So I think it's going fine. I don't know. It's a good hunting season. I'll say that.
Do you ever have people argue that they're more okay than you?
Oh no. I even had people try to undermine us that way.
No, we're worse than you are.
Yeah. No, not in a chest thumping kind of way, but we got a lot of relatability come at us with that kind of stuff. We get tagged in things and all sorts of stuff. We had some guy tag us in something where he was taking a poop and 2 bucks came walking up and he's like, he had toilet paper in his hand. Like, dude, oh man, that's funny. That sucks.
One of my buddies still has the picture. He let his bow down and, climbing down, and And then a giant walks in. So he's got a picture of this giant buck and his bow right beside it.
That's how it goes, man. It's like when it happens,
This year, like this is one of those years for me, dude, where it's been like, dude, this has been like the definition of mistake after mistake, or wrong place, wrong time, or wrong weapon. Like, it's been one of those years, man. It's been a tough year, but no, I'm excited, man. But sounds like you've had a good season. How's your year been?
It's been good, but to your point, like it's tough because you have to wait another year to try again. So you're like, if you don't make it happen this season, you're like, man, I got to wait another year for another crack at this. And
yeah,
that can like really get to you in the season. It's like if you have insomnia and you can't fall asleep, you start watching the clock tick where you're like, well, now I'm only going to get 3 hours. Now I'm only going to get 2. And then you start to like have this self-fulfilling prophecy where like, oh, I guess I didn't sleep. How am I going to get through the day? It feels like that when the season's coming to a close and you haven't gotten it done yet. It's like, shit, man.
And I think, I haven't added it up or counted or anything, but this is the first year in a long, long time that I haven't shot a buck. And I'm okay with that. Like at first it was like, dude, this sucks. Like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And now it's like, I realign my perspective on some things and I'm like, if the animal doesn't win more often than not, then what's the joy in it? Like, and so, I mean, and I still got time. I mean, I'm not saying I'm done yet, but we're coming down to the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and you've got Christmas, New Year's, all the parties, all the family get-togethers. And so time is definitely dwindling down, but I've just realized like, it's okay. Like it makes it that much better. And I was telling a buddy about it the other day and he was like, dude, you shot 3 bears this spring. Like there had to come a time where you come back down to earth. Like there had to be a time where you just like, remember like, oh yeah, hunting sucks sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. To your question, how's mine? It's a good season. Like the hunts that I went on were intentionally difficult. I'm struggling in public land, going to tough places, I'm doing the whole grind and I enjoy that. I like a side of suffering with my hunt. It seems to make me feel like I earned the hunt, whether I got a deer or not. I ended up connecting with what I would consider a really nice 2-year-old public land, or it was a private land buck. It was a lease on my uncle. Leases like I'm lucky to maybe hunt once a year. I've never shot one on his lease at all these years I've been hunting it. So it was my first time actually getting one there. But it was like a picturesque November, ruddy hunt, deer everywhere, grunting, chasing. So it was awesome. My dad was there. It was a really cool hunt. I ended up killing this deer at like 5 yards under my stand. It was wild.
That's cool.
So I enjoyed that. But I also just, after the season I had last year, you'd think that I would have an easier time jettisoning the whole concept of like kill a buck, kill a nice buck, kill a mature buck. I struggle with it. And this year I just kind of like was really totally comfortable in my skin to just do what I needed to do. Right. So I like need to take my own advice kind of thing often. And I think passing on deer would be a great way to go. But that hunt got me excited, man. And I don't know. I think it's cool that people can pass. You don't always get a deer. There's a lot of conversation right now about maybe you should shoot does. I'm like, well, maybe if I saw a doe while I was hunting, I'd shoot one. Like there's plenty of them out there, but they learn to stay away from me when I have a weapon in my hand. I'm not sure what's going on. I really only see little bucks when I'm hunting because they're really stupid. I don't know what's going on. So the whole hunt your own hunt thing has been a pretty loud message in my head lately.
That's cool, man. And to me, I really like hearing guys that are in the industry that are doing it for a living, and they have a footprint and they have an influence on other people. I really enjoy hearing them say like, hey, I'm still working on it. Like I'm still figuring out, things, and not only learning like hunting, but learning the perspective of hunting and learning like growing as a sportsman, growing as an outdoorsman. Like I really enjoy hearing people say that, because so many times I think the general public gets in their head of like, oh, these guys got it all together. Like they just hunt, they know what they're doing, they know how to do it. Then like, no, man, I still have to realign my perspective. I still have to think about the things I'm doing, why I'm doing them. Like I still have to learn and grow just like you do. And so I appreciate that about you, man.
Well, thank you, dude. And same, you've done a good job of like being candid and honest too. And you've been in it for a while. Like you're not some spring chicken to the industry yourself. You have good dialogue. Yeah. Keep it real.
I'm getting old, man. When I started in this industry, I had hair. Like, so that was, that's interesting. Have you ever been on Working Class Bowhunter? I feel like you have.
Yeah, I was on there. It may have been this year.
Okay.
I think it was earlier this year. I drove down to be in their studio, which is neat. Like what they got going on there is pretty cool. Having that studio space. And actually we having been there, I was kind of like, man, this is nice. We should get a studio so I don't have to be in my basement. So we've been looking for a spot for like 2 years and we found something that worked with our budget. So we moved into a studio space ourselves this last summer, which is cool.
The reason I ask is because I had this conversation with Kurt too. Like, you know, they have this different persona and this different view, like look. And, you know, I love Kurt, but like you look at him and you're not like, dude's a hunter, you know, like if I saw him at Walmart, I'd be like, oh, look at this, you know, look at this headbanger. I wouldn't think like, oh, dude, he's thinking shooting big bucks, you know? And, you know, I was asking him just kind of about how the public perceives him and how the public views him and as a hunter. And, you know, he was sharing with it, like, yeah, a lot of times they don't get viewed as serious hunters, like as people who are as serious as anybody when it comes to chasing big deer. Do you feel like your platform has given people that idea about you of like, oh, well, he just like goes out and goofs off. He's not like serious about it, you know, because of the standpoint you've kind of taken?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough from the inside looking out. I think I actually brought this up on Working Class. I said, I don't know what people's perception of us is. And I don't ask that because I care. Like because I don't care about the judgment. I'm just curious. Like I'm curious, are we putting out what we think we're putting out? Is it being received the way we think it is? And I actually talked to someone last night and they said, man, I'm going to be honest. I came across your stuff. I thought you guys a bunch of beer drinking, you know, slapstick kind of guys. And I'm like, well, we kind of are. But yeah, he's like, then I started reading the copy on the posts and I started to look at your website and I read your mission. Then I watched the podcast and he's like, I just kept pulling the layers back and there's so much more there than I initially anticipated. And I think, you know, there's this balancing act of walking this line of like, we need to do enough to get reach and attention to bring people in. But in some ways you end up getting known for things maybe you wouldn't want to be known for, or you come off a certain way and it takes a minute for people to come into the fold. And that's been true for a long time. That's true with headlines and the news. Like you just take things at face value and move on. Like you're probably going to miss the mark a little bit. I did that with Gary Vaynerchuk in 2014. I thought he was a crass asshole. And I was like, this guy's arrogant and he's ego. But then you follow him and you watch him and you consume and you're like, no, he's not. He's none of those things. So like he probably offends a lot of people out the rip. But if you just take a second and dive in, like you might learn something. You might learn you don't like him and that's validated, or you might be pleasantly surprised. And it sounded like the gentleman I talked to last night was pleasantly surprised. And I hope that we come off the way that we intend to. We try to put out a balanced mix of, you know, some funny, humorous things, some podcast clips, but then also we try to hit on our mission every now and again. And those ones typically in the past don't reach as strongly because it's a little bit more intimate, or it's a little bit more like there's more gravity to it. As of late, though, some image posts have done a really good job of reaching people, and it's been attached to our message. And I was like really grateful that happened, because that hasn't really happened to date. It's usually like we'll get 3 million views from my buddy puking, and not a million views because of our mission. So it's been cool to see a little bit of that kind of start to catch that way. Yeah, I'd be curious, what's your perception? Like, how did we come off when you came across us years ago?
That's why I asked, because you hear the name like Okayest Hunter and you're like, okay, well, and then like you said, the first couple clips are like, okay, these guys are idiots. Like they just like to drink beer and, you know, show all the funniness and mess ups, and they're your classic deer camp guys. But then again, like he said, the more layers you pull back, it's like, okay, they're serious hunters. Like they want to get out there and shoot deer the same as I do. And they hunt hard and they work hard, but they're not afraid to show the public their mess ups. They're not afraid to show the public like, hey, dude, we screw up. Like everybody screws up. These are the funny moments that you laugh around the fire at night and like reminisce about. And, I still get it's funny that you say puking, because that's like my single most, like if I was to put a pin in the most okayest moment, it would be that. I was out chasing pigs and super hot, dude. Middle of summer, 100 degrees, and we're crawling through brush and we're hiking forever. And I say hiking, it wasn't mountains, but you know what I mean? Stomping through this ground all day. And then we go to lunch and we go to this greasy hole in the spot. Like your burger is dripping with grease. And I'm like, this is what we need for sure. Like this is going to make us feel real good about ourselves. And so you consume those 6,000 calories and get back out there. And again, just sweating, feeling like crap. And I start throwing up everywhere, dude. Just heat exhaustion, not enough water, nasty food, start throwing up. And not like 4 minutes later, this pig runs by at 20 yards. And I just absolutely, like I could barely pull my bow back. So I'm so like weak from throwing up, and just
wipe your mouth.
Shot it right in the butt. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that's okay for sure, dude. Now, so you haven't been on Typical Sportsman. We did several bear archery podcasts back in the day. With that being said, share the mission of Okayest Hunter with the Typical Sportsman fan base.
The core of it is, hunt your own hunt for memories, hunt for meat, hunt for the trophy if you want to, make the best use of what you have. But it should be okay for you to hunt how you want to hunt without being shamed for it in some sort of way. And that's kind of where things started for me with all this, is like just shaming. And the reason, I guess we're not snowflakes. Like we can handle stuff. Like our buddies can give us shit. The internet can give us shit. It's all good. Where I kind of like had a problem with some of the shaming personally, and what led me to kind of go down this path was when you're not in the industry or part of the community or have hunting buddies, really like not even an adult onset hunter, but someone just getting into hunting, or the adult onset folks or whatever, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know much about the industry, what's acceptable, what's frowned upon, what people think is cool, what they don't, like you don't even know that a crossbow is a stigma thing or like taboo. You don't know, a spike is like, you just think, oh, I'm going to kill a deer with what I have. Like, you don't even think of those things. And when I shot my first deer with a bow, I was 24. No, it's not 24. That was my first deer with a gun. My first deer with a bow took me some time. It was a doe fawn, and public land. I had to shoot a doe first for a buck on this particular property because it was a conservancy property. And my dad was there. It was all great. And I posted it, really proud, because I got my first bow kill ever finally under my belt as a 29, 30, 31. My daughter was born in 2017. I'm 39 now. So whatever the math is on that, my early 30s. And everyone's like, dude, my dog's bigger than that. Why would you shoot that thing? And it was just like such a contrast. Like I was very blindsided by that. It didn't compute. I was like, I'm excited. I'm enthused. Got it done. Post about it. Happy. Tag my dad. All good. Boom, shameful comments come in. I'm like, well, this is confusing. I thought this was like, people would be happy. This is a brotherhood. Like, what's going on here? So I realized that was happening to other people, and I wanted to do something about it. And that's kind of the thesis of the mission, is to end deer shaming. I don't think we'll ever completely get there. As I've learned, humans are humans. You go read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, written 2,000 years ago, and you'll learn real quick that nothing has changed in the last 2,000 years. So I hope that we can make a dent and create some space, but it's an interesting world out there, man.
You know what's the most interesting to me is you get shamed for shooting a small buck, and then you get shamed for shooting a big buck. Look at all your big buck, like your known big buck killers. Now they're being shamed because they constantly kill big bucks. And it's like, okay, we're going to shame people for shooting small ones.
You just can't win.
We're going to shame people for shooting little ones. Like, we're going to shame people for shooting big ones. We're going to shame people for shooting does. We're going to shame people for shooting too many bucks. We're going to shame people for shooting not enough bucks. Like, what's the deal here, man? Like, and I mean, especially like being in the world of Pope and Young and getting to see some of the biggest animals, and even those animals are scrutinized. It's like, how are you scrutinizing a new world record? Like, because he didn't hunt the way you.
The methodology, the property, they'll just strip it down and find something to nitpick. It's just, it's jealousy, it's ego, it's those are probably the two biggest driving factors that people can't see. It's insecurity in themselves or projecting things like it. It's just nasty, and we have a PR problem as an industry. We're outnumbered by people that are organized and well-funded, and we can't seem to get our shit together inside our own damn house. Like, we're too busy fighting with each other, and that's frustrating. I see a lot of other people posting positive things and making positivity louder and making it okay to hunt how you hunt your own hunt and all that stuff. And there's just always still some thorns out there. Like, I'm dealing with some over the last couple of weeks, and it just continues to, like, I work in the industry professionally. I have this gig here. I'm not on the pulse. I'm in the bloodstream. Like, I'm very aware of the nuances of different messaging, and I key into it and tune in because I want to, like, hear it, understand it, make sure we're not doing anything that would have a negative implication if I can help it. And then address the concerns and have a good conversation about it and grow as a result. So if someone's telling me, like, you're promoting shooting anything, which isn't how we're actually promoting stuff, but I understand that people could perceive it that way. To your initial question, like, how do people look at you guys? And then when I hear from some Michigan hunters that, like, no, man, our herd's messed up. Like, this message is going to have more harm than good in our state, in this region. And I want to hear that. And I want to make sure that we can address that to a degree. Can we do something good with that? You know, but there's just so many nuances, man. We're talking to a nation of hunters. We're not just talking to Michigan hunters. You know, we're trying to get people to stop having an opinion about how someone else uses their tag.
Yeah. So what do you think the impact that deer shaming, buck shaming, method shaming, you know, all this stuff, not only to the industry itself, but to people looking into the industry from the outside? What do you think the impacts that really has is?
I think it prevents people from wanting to come into it in some capacity. I don't know, if I was going to go, like, to the gym and I was looking in, I'm, like, following a certain influencer because I'm getting some good vibes from that, or it's motivating, or I'm learning. There's education, there's entertainment, and there's edutainment. There's, like, also, I would argue there's another fold of social happening where it's like, what is it making you feel? Like, are you seeking out a certain feeling from consuming content? And if I saw people being total jackasses, I might just not even go to the gym because I'm like, I don't know how to do that exercise. I don't want someone to, like, post a video of me doing something that I didn't know how to do and get shamed for it. I might just back off altogether. Now, again, that's not me personally, but I wonder if that's happening in our society, and the younger generation who are growing up on cell phones, on smartphones, who have been, like, we were born, you know, in a space where we didn't have cell phones yet, we had computers. Now the kids being born, like, they have, I don't even know what iPhone we're on, the 17, you know, like, yeah. 17 years of iPhone. I'm more concerned that, how do I articulate this? Well, yeah, Eric, it's okay for a kid to shoot a spike for his first, you know, deer as he's getting his reps under him. But it's not okay for a grown man to. I'm like, okay, well, let's just take a second here. So if you're going to shame that grown man who you don't know his circumstances, could be his, you know, first deer as an adult onset hunter, could be his last hunt with his dad, could be his first hunt with his kid, could be his first out of state hunt, could be with a new weapon or caliber or bow or whatever, then you're going to ridicule him. Who do you think's watching that conversation happen? If I go back to the gym analogy,
the kids.
Now, what are the kids never going to do? Either A, they might not take it up altogether, or B, they might never want to shoot that deer ever because they want to hold out for 150, 130, 160, whatever. And if they don't get reps in, like going to the gym, you can't just lift 250 pounds on the bench press. You want to go put some reps in and, like, build the muscle up. You got to get some practice on your belt.
Yeah.
And there's a survey that went out recently that said, like, kids today, take it however you want, like, agree, disagree, or have an opinion. I don't care. But the survey was like, kids are more afraid of social death than actual death. So therefore, we're probably putting up a wall right now that is preventing a younger generation from getting into stuff. Not to mention, we're busier. We have less time people care less about the outdoors. Like there's a myriad of reasons people are not getting into and or falling out of hunting. We don't need another one. Like we don't need another thing to prevent people.
And I personally think that that's the issue behind this whole idea. Everybody thinks they're going to shoot a 150. Everybody thinks they're going to shoot a 160 because that's all they see on social media. Everybody else in the world shooting 160s. Everybody else in the world shooting 170s. There must be 170s hiding every tree. So I must just suck. No, like the general public, very few percentage of hunters will shoot a 160. However,
few will ever even get one on their trail cam. Like,
yeah.
Good luck shooting one. Good luck even seeing one digitally, man. Like, can you have a picture of one? How are you going to make that happen?
And again, as people are listening to this, they're already like, no, dude, everybody's killing 160s because those are the only people that post about it. Those are the only people that post their deer because everybody else is ashamed to post it because we have made them feel ashamed to post it.
That's a good point. And we had, when we launched our brand or whatever, that was kind of the first thing that ever happened. That was a signal that we were onto something unique and meaningful as people are DMing us pictures of their smaller bucks. And those deer had never seen the light of day on the internet before. They weren't posted, but they were DMing pictures of them to us with the stories. And I was like, what the hell? Like, this is a cool story, man. Why wouldn't you share this? Well, I'm not putting that out on the internet. I don't want to show a picture of this buck. I don't want to deal with, which fair. Like I understand not wanting to deal with it. That was like 5 years ago. That's still happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that shoot deer that never want to post about them. And that's a sad thing. Now let me take a step back. If you don't want to post your deer for any other reason, like I'm not telling you should post your deer. The single best hunter I've ever met in my entire life does not post all of his animals because he's like, I don't need to. Like, I don't need the rest of the world to just, think I'm the greatest thing to walk on earth. Like I do this for me. I don't do it for anybody else. Mm-hmm. If that's your reason for not posting, great. But if you're ashamed of what you've shot, if you think other people will make you feel ashamed of what you've shot, there's a problem with that. And it's not your fault. It's ours. It's ours as an industry. It's ours as a hunting community. That's our fault. Like we have done an injustice by you.
Which is unfortunate. And I think why our industry is unique and special is like, I'm going to just use the gym analogy to stay consistent. No one's killing an animal in the gym. Like nothing's dying. There's ethics, sure. But there's a level of morality and ethics involved in hunting that has more gravity to the situation. So like there is a little bit more of a visceral response to things. It is steeped in tradition that goes back for a very long time. And that tradition is passed down to you typically by the people you love the absolute most. Your dad, your grandpa. Like if you think about that lineage of I can't think of the, instead of matriarch, I can't think of the other version of that, the male version of that term, but
patriarch.
Like, the patriarch nature of that. Like, oh, my brain, I am sick. So of course, like if you have something to say about some other hunter, like it feels as though your identity is being attacked because your identity is attached to that. Like it's conflated with it. Much like I sadly realized when I got rid of my truck, I didn't realize how much of my identity I was not aware was associated with this stupid truck until I went to go get rid of it. I was like, ooh, that stung more than I thought it would. What was that all about?
Yeah.
That was weird. What the hell? Like I was frustrated with myself that I let my identity get tied into something so materialistic and it was stupid. It wasn't even just the fact that it was a truck. It was like, it was a new truck. It was a Ford truck. It said something about my success, my career. I'm a hunter. Like it had a lot going on there. And it was just this dumb thing. I think we kill big bucks or hunt or whatever. And that's part of our identity also.
Yeah. And to your point, the lineage of hunting that has been passed down to me. When I was a kid, you were either a yes or a no. In other words, yeah, I shot one or nope, didn't get one. There was none of this like, well, how big was it? How many inches was it? How many? And listen, Pope and Young's been around since 1961. We've been scoring animals. People have always wanted to kill big animals. That's not the point. The point is back in the day, there wasn't, and I say back in the day, I'm only 32. But like when I was a kid, it wasn't like man, how long, how big was the spread? How many points did it have? How much mass was there? It was like, you shot a buck? Great. That's awesome, dude. And there weren't any other questions. Now, if the conversation continued to go down the path of like, yeah, man, it was a 10-point, dude. Like, oh, that's awesome, dude. Like,
That's about as far as it needs to go. That's awesome, dude. It reminds me of like when we, I was into cars a little bit in high school, and you'd sit around and someone popped their engine, you'd all stand there looking at it. And you'd be like, wow, it's cool. Like that was kind of it. You just need an excuse to be together. Like, I don't actually care about the engine. I admire it. It's cool. It's great. It's not my car. So like, glad you get to drive that car. Really happy for you. That's pretty neat. What a cool engine. Like at some point we'll have the antlers with us, before it's maybe getting mounted, if you're going to do that. And we all stand around, we look, oh, that's awesome. We hold it, we touch it. It's cool. But then you move on. And what's more important are the people standing around those antlers, or the engine, or helping you, with your reps at the gym. Like on my deathbed, I don't think I'm going to remember the score or the antlers themselves. I will remember my family and my friends in the moments that were made in the woods around deer. Like that's, and same thing with the engine. Like if I rebuilt an engine on a Camaro my senior year of high school, and I remember very vividly my friends who were there with me, my automotive teacher who was there doing it, and how cool it was when it finally started. Like that was a big deal. Like, it's kind of like, oh, we got it. We got the deer, that's a big deal in the moment. But the rest fades, man. Like that car is in a junkyard somewhere probably. That was 20 years ago. Like,
yeah,
the deer on the wall the snout's going to get all shriveled up and the foam's going to deteriorate, and no one's going to care about that mount as much as you do, even if it's important for your kids. Like they don't have unless they were there with you, it's not the same.
I'll never forget what, and this aligns perfectly with your mission and your vision there at Okayest. I'll never forget the first year that I was on staff with Pope and Young. I remember like buying into the lie of like, well, I've got to shoot a mega giant. Like I work for the organization now. Like I work for Pope and Young, and to backtrack a little bit, the president of the organization was at my house and we were hanging out shooting bows, and I was showing him the picture of my number one hit lister. Like it was a mega giant stud, biggest buck I've ever had the chance to chase. Never shot it, but and so I'm showing him all these pictures, and he's like, "Oh, that's great, dude." And fast forward a couple weeks, I shoot a buck, and I sent him the picture of the buck, and I said, "Not the big one," meaning like not the one I was showing you pictures of. Yeah. This was a great buck. I was on cloud 9. I mean, I was ecstatic about this buck. I had no, it was a beautiful representation of a whitetail. But I sent him that, and I said, "Not the big one, but I got it done tonight." And I didn't mean I didn't mean I was ashamed of it. I didn't mean it's not big enough. I just meant it's not the one I was showing you pictures of. And he responded back with, "If you shot it, it's the big one." And I was like, wait, like you're the president of Pope and Young. Like you kill 170s all the time. Like you've hunted all over the world. You've killed all these world-class animals, but you still have the mindset of like, hey, if it was big enough to shoot, then it's big enough. Like you don't have to. And again, I wasn't meaning that by my statement.
The response is actually great, because he's saying like, no, actually it was the big one because you shot it. Like that matters. And I think people that have gotten it done at a high level and are consistent or have achieved some greatness with it, we don't hear shit from those folks. Typically, I've not noticed or to date have heard people like that shaming others. Those are the people that get it. It's almost like every movie you've ever seen about some business mogul. Like they make all the money and then the happiness doesn't come because they realize it was never about the money. It's like, you can go chase that buck, but boy, oh boy, once you finally catch that car, the dog chasing the car, you're going to realize like that wasn't the point. Maybe you scratch an itch, you got your ego to do what you wanted to do. Look, when we're young men, we're driven, we're ambitious, we're hungry, we're passionate. Like I think there's a season of life for that stuff, and you want to challenge yourself, and that's important to have goals and all that stuff. But I think once you get all that, you will realize that you can there's way more to the hunt than that point of it.
Yeah.
You almost kind of have to experience it to like get to this side of it. I don't know that you can get there without it. Maybe some can, I'm not sure.
Are you saying you're not driven anymore? You said when we were young, we were driven, we were passionate.
Far more. Far more. I'm still driven. It's like a problem.
That's funny, man. So what do you think? How do you think and I know this is such a loaded question, but what do you think the best way moving forward to really begin and talking to the guy that doesn't have a platform, that doesn't have a voice? Every voice matters in the hunting. I'm not saying that, but in their mind, they don't have, a TV show. They're not. How can they begin to turn the tide and work towards a better culture for hunting?
I almost wonder if the youth is doing a better job of this stuff anyways. Like, I think a lot of kids that I run into are smarter than I ever was at that age. They seem to understand things better. It reminds me of, being younger and not drinking. And then you're an underage drinker and you're gorging yourself with booze at these like underage parties and just getting completely tanked because you've never been able to do it before. And then eventually you come out of that and you're like, well, that was stupid. I was like poisoning myself. Now that I got out of my system, like I'm good. I don't have to drink that much anymore. I feel like they don't even need to, they are like so immersed in technology that they are turned off by it. Like that, a phone's not that. I don't need that. Like they want to go backwards almost. And I say that to say, I almost wonder if my advice would be like, I don't know if my advice would matter that much. Like if I would tell a younger kid, don't drink, like alcohol sales are down right now the industry is suffering because people are less interested in drinking. Like people are less interested in doing dumb shit for some reason, in contrast to us and our dads and grandfathers. So it's kind of like, it feels like they're already better than us with this stuff. Maybe. But the point is to enjoy the moment, try to be present, have some presence. I think that's going to be easier for those folks. Maybe my analogy is wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not entirely sure. But I would hope that you can appreciate the moments you're getting out of this stuff. It's very indelible. If I think back in my life, I don't remember, the game playing Call of Duty. I remember being in the woods, and I remember very distinct things about the woods and who I shared them with. I hope that people can appreciate all that hunting has to offer and not worry about the opinions of other people, which is hard to tell someone to not have to worry about that because we all do.
Well, and yeah, to your point, like no kid's greatest day ever was a day on an iPad. Like my son, it's funny watching boys versus girls grow up because like my girls wake up on a Saturday and they're like, can we do this? Can we go here? Can we spend this? Can we go ahead? They want to go shopping. They want to spend money. They want to get a pinkety drinkety from the Starbucks. Like they want to, it's all about what can we spend? How can we do it? And my son can go outside with a rock and a hammer and come back in 7 hours later and be like, that's the greatest day ever, Dad. And just crash out, Now, but, and I guess maybe I worded my question wrong. What, as a hunting industry, as a hunter, not somebody in the industry, how can we start working to make the image of hunting better in the non-hunter's eye?
I think that's just a function of making positivity louder. So instead of like, you don't always have to have an opinion about things. I would hope that most people listening to this aren't the ones that are out there making shitty comments. If those people are listening, like Marcus Aurelius said, you don't always have to have an opinion or share that opinion. You can just choose to like move on and not like engage. And that's probably better for your psyche anyways. However, for those of us that aren't doing that, which is hopefully the majority, rather than give a thumbs up or pass something by, like we actually have to make an effort here. And so when you see someone with any sort of deer, like say, congratulations, ask to hear the story, praise them, like ask them what they're like. Oh, good looking buck. Congrats. Like, what's the first thing you're going to cook? What knife did you use? Like, what did you do? How would anything stand out to you on that hunt? Like ask some questions, engage in a meaningful way. And I liken it to back in the day, if I keep looking back in the day, like the Gateway 95, computer that came in the cow box. I remember being with my buddies and like we'd search some things that maybe we shouldn't be searching for. And we didn't know how to delete the history with the blocker thing that our parents set up. So then it was just like, well, we better search for like 100 things that aren't that to bury that. And unfortunately, that search term would stand out like a sore thumb if a parent came across it, even though it probably wasn't actually that bad. a negative comment will stand out like a sore thumb, and it will be the only thing that person who posted thinks about, even if there's 100 good things. So we need to multiply the good to bury that comment. And that's why I think more than just congratulations and having some sort of like, I say engagement, but ask a question, man. Like, get something going. And I know we don't have time for that, but if you're on the toilet scrolling, or if you're in bed scrolling, something better than scrolling is having a conversation and engaging with people. That's what social media was meant for. And I know it's not social media anymore because the algorithms have changed to be AI driven and predictive and so forth. Like, they're not distributed through social channels, but social is still a really positive place. There's still a lot of good that comes out of it. I mean, talked to some guys last night. I'm talking to people all the time. It's all stemming from that. And there's a lot of good happening there. And so I'd rather have us be the part of the good. So my advice to people that are in the industry, trying to serve the industry and people maybe looking in, is to just make a bigger, more concerted effort to be positive and have some positive engagement.
You know, that's a valid point you make. And I say that because, you know, you and I both work in the world of marketing, and I've told people all the time, they're like, oh, my Google reviews are low. They're all down. And I'm like, because nobody posts good. Like, nobody, when you do a good job, nobody posts about it. People are only wanting to put the review when you've messed up, like when their burger was wrong, or when their tires didn't get rotated, or when, whatever. I mean, they only leave there and they're like, this place sucks, dude. I'm leaving a negative review. Nobody leaves and was like, yeah, I had a good experience. I'm going to go leave a review.
They just don't share that. Yeah.
They don't share that.
They'll talk about it, but it's different. Like, I worked at a call center in college, and I had one call that entire tenure. Someone called and was like, I'm just calling to say you guys did a great job. I was like, yeah. What do you want though? Like, what's going on here? It was
Why are you calling me though?
It was so out of place. But 1% of the consumer base of that cell phone company called in, and it was hundreds of calls a day across, I don't know, hundreds of employees in one building. And all of them were negative because they only called when they had a problem. Yeah. And that shit will weigh on you, man. Like, negativity is very loud. That's why I deliberately say, much like Gary Vaynerchuk says, make positivity louder, because you there's no other way. Like, I don't know how else to do this.
Yeah. Well, and I think that same stigma is true carried over to social media. There's so many times where I see somebody shoot a buck and I'm like, dang, what a stud, man. But keep scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
Why not tell them that?
Drop time or something. But yeah, you can. Yeah. It won't take that long. And I promise you'll feel better about it. And then you're actually putting something into the world. I mean, I have this, I have this tattoo on my arm. It says contribute. It's a Marcus Aurelius passage. He doesn't actually say the word contribute, but that was my takeaway on it. And he talked about, it was more about getting out of bed in the morning. He's like, the birds get up and they contribute to the flock. The ants wake up and they contribute to the colony. The bees get up and they contribute to the hive. Like, everything else on earth, according to nature, gives back to its thing. So you're a human. When you wake up, shouldn't you go contribute to being a human and to society, and like put something in, do something good? I have the other tattoo. These are reminders because I'm a selfish asshole. Like, give more than I take, 51-49. It's just a simple ratio. I have these like stupid reminders on my arms because I need to remind myself to give more than I take and to contribute to things. And so our brand really stems a lot from like, shit rolls downhill. So I'm like the owner of this thing. Of course, you're going to get a little bit of air coming through most of this stuff because that's where it's coming from. But I believe if we contribute more in a positive manner, we'll have a better output.
Yeah, I agree, man. And for some reason, the only thing I could think of when he said that, I've got a buddy, and it never fails when we're out hunting. Every time he'll drop his pants all the way to his ankles and start peeing. And he'll say, and the dumbest, like redneck, but most like trying to be like inspirational, and it never fails. If you want to take from the land, you got to give back to the land. And then he pees. And I'm like, dude, so every time, it never fails. But that's all I could think of when you were saying that, is like, that's his idea of contributing. But no, I think you're on. I think you're spot on, man. Because if the young man who posts that 6-point, basket rack that is a year and a half old, if he knew how many people out there really truly didn't hate him for what he did and still appreciated it and still celebrated along with him, it would help drown out those negative comments that he did get. So instead of just saying like, oh, good for that young man, like in our head, like, he got his first buck. That's great. Actually let him know, like comment on there and say like, dude, that's an awesome buck, man. Great job. Don't listen to all these other idiots. Like that's a phenomenal deer. Good job. If we would make the positive voice louder, it would help drown out the negative voice, just to reiterate what Eric said. But again, so many times, like we only say something if we have something negative to say. And my mama taught me different. You know, if you don't have anything but negative, don't say anything. Like,
yeah, I don't know whose moms taught these people to just say trashy, terrible things and to not be conscious that like, man, think about what you're saying for a second. Like words have some serious power. They always have. Look at our politics. Like words matter. They are important. They're in headlines, all this stuff. The other thing I'll say is when you start doing that positive contribution, you ask the questions, you tease out a story, so forth. I don't know about everyone listening to this, but you know, I grew up and I think most kids at some point, maybe didn't fit in or might've got picked on or even bullied to some extreme cases. When you have people that have your back and help you fight or fight alongside of you. And if you're in the service, or you've been in the service, like you fight for the guy to the left and to the right, like you don't care what the orders are. You're just there for the people with you. When I think about like, I'll go into a comment, I'm going back and forth with someone and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm trying to be an exemplar. So I'm not fighting fire with fire. But the moment someone jumps in and starts having a dialogue alongside me, it feels better. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing this alone. Oh my gosh, there's other people here. Like there's relief. It's like even in your own household, if you're doing the dishes and your wife comes in and she starts drying them, you're like, wow, that's helpful. We'll get through this quicker. Like, I hate doing the dishes. Thanks for helping me with this. Hey, thanks for having my back in these comments. Yeah. Like, do you know how good that will feel to that person who might have just gotten like their teeth kicked in? So again, there's a bigger implication here that has a really significant impact far beyond, you know, like it might be 2 minutes for you, but that's going to make that could make their week, their month. It could be a big deal for them.
Well, and I don't say this like out of like I'm a tough guy, you know, not like a say it to my face type deal, but and you know what I've learned is most of these dudes would never walk up to you in person and say, oh, dude, that deer was a dink, man. You're an idiot. Why would you shoot that?
I'd appreciate if they did. I'd actually respect that person. You know, if someone wanted to say it to my face in person, I'd be like, at least you have balls, dude. Like, because everyone else talking about a keyboard's not. Like, I actually wouldn't even mind that.
Yeah. But and again, I don't say that out of like a big tough guy way. Yeah. I say that out of like this, we hide behind our phones, we hide behind our keyboards, and we'll diminish people and we'll put people down and we'll say things about people that we would never walk up to them in person and say. Like, and our phones and our computer screens have given us this sense of, going back to whose mama taught them that. Society taught them that. Well, if you're hiding behind your phone, nothing bad can happen. Like you're safe, you're good. And we don't see the impact it makes. You know, the reason I wouldn't say that to your face is because I'm going to see, A, you might punch me right in the nose, but B, like I'm going to see the impact I made on you. I'm going to see the hurt on you. Well, if I'm behind my phone, I don't have to see that. I don't have to see the pain I've caused. I don't have to see the distress I've put on you. I don't have to see that stuff. So we've disconnected ourselves from the reality of like our comments can change people's feelings and emotions and like you said, change their entire day, like put them down in a way, or maybe even change their life in the way where they don't want to hunt anymore. Like in the way they don't even want to be in the woods anymore.
Some people are already going, I don't want to hunt anymore. This is stupid. Like, what am I chasing? These comments, like it's already happening. It's very unfortunate. And it's very much like you described. It's like road rage. You're not acknowledging there's another human in the freaking car. You're just like, this jackass cut me off. Well, that jackass probably has a kid in the car, or like, who knows, maybe they're a jackass. Like that's a real thing too. Some people suck them. But when they're driving, like even as the driver behind the wheel, you're acting as if like you're not a person, you're a thing, you know? And the thing's doing the same thing to people.
I've said this, I've told this story before, so I don't want to get too far into it. But what you just said, man, reminds like when I was a kid, when me and my brother were kids, we would always make up these crazy scenarios. Like if somebody cut us off and they were jerks, like I'd be like, I'd yell at them like, hey, what are you doing? And my brother would be like, dude, don't yell at them. Like their wife is in the passenger seat and that he's driving her to the hospital right now, man. He's trying to get there as fast as he can, like make up these crazy scenarios where you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Or like, dude, their dog just swallowed a Skittle and it's choking to death and they're trying to get it to the vet, chill out a little bit. But then it got to the point where it's like, there's a lot of truth to that. Like, I don't know why this guy is cutting me off. I don't know why he's flying down the interstate.
You might not even know you were there, like,
I mean, it could have been an accident or truly like his life could be crumbling around him right now. And he's trying to, and the same could be true for hunting. Like, before I make that negative comment, like, to your point, I don't know if this guy's wife just had a newborn and he's not going to get to hunt anymore. So he had to get meat on the table. He had to, this was his only chance to get out and hunt, or he got laid off, right before season started and he don't have the money to go out and hunt. And like, this was his one chance. So he was going to shoot whatever he had the chance at. Like, we don't know the place in life they're at. And so why put them down for what they choose to shoot? Like, not only should we celebrate it because it wasn't our tag, they chose to put their tag on it. Not only should we celebrate that, but also we don't know the place in life that person is at and like the choices they had to make for their family, for their, for their hunting season. Like we don't know. And so there's a lot of truth to that.
If the guy that or gal that was putting someone down said like, well, why'd you shoot that? And let's just say they have a narrative that's like, well, they should be practicing QDMA. It's important around here. Like that has value to my family and our heritage and land. Let's just say that like that person fit their narrative to a T and they deserve shaming. Let's just say that like they've checked all the negative boxes for that person to feel justified in their negative comment. I'm making up a false reality here. What good does that do? Do you feel better now? Like you really stuck it to them? That's not valuable. And if you're trying to teach someone, that is the absolute worst way to teach someone. Like you don't attack them. They are now not going to learn. They are now walled up and they're not going to hear anything you've said. So if you really don't like what they've done, calling them out that way isn't the way to get the outcome you're looking for, Mr. QDMA, or whoever you are, whatever that problem is that you have with that person. I promise you, your approach is way off. So like you didn't even do any good for the thing that you care about. You just made it worse. Hello. That's not how it's going to make anything better. So even if you are the complainer or you're pissing in people's Cheerios, your approach is wrong.
I have had a long time love for Garmin products, and for good reason. When it comes to smartwatches, when it comes to GPS wearables and handhelds, when it comes to devices to stay in touch with my friends and family when I'm off grid, there's just simply nobody that can compete with Garmin. Here's the best part. They make something for everybody in every price range. So whether you're looking for something like the Instinct, which is one of my favorite watches of all time, it's incredibly well built. It is priced phenomenally, but it is also just as tough as nails. You could throw that thing through a meat grinder and it's going to come out just like the day you bought it. All of that, and it still offers me all of the GPS features that I need when I'm on the mountain, still offers me all of the cool smartwatch features that I want when I'm in the office or at the gym or tracking my sleep habits. And then you move up to something like the Tactic series, which has ballistics built into it. It's got lights built into it so that you can use it as a flashlight around camp. It has full color GPS maps. Guys, Garmin has something for you. And then you move on to something like the InReach, which is the best thing that you could ever have to stay in touch with friends and family when you're off grid. Let me tell you something. Mama likes getting text message when I'm on the mountain just to tell her that I'm safe and that I love her. But it also gives her an incredible peace of mind knowing that that little device in my hand, if something were to happen with the touch of a button, I can let her know where I'm at. I can also alert rescue teams to let them know where I'm at. Guys, I literally trust Garmin with my life. And then as far as the bow shop goes, they make the best chronographs that you could ever get your hands on. Guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. Whether you're looking for a new wearable to just get smart notifications when you're in the office, or a new wearable to track your sleep habits and your workouts in the gym, or whether you're looking to go off grid with full color GPS maps, Garmin has a wearable for you. They also have a full line of handheld GPS and devices to stay in touch with friends and family. Guys, go check out Garmin.com because I have never one time went wrong with the Garmin product. Well, we can we'll get off this soapbox.
Yeah,
what
it's a healthy soapbox for me because like I'm in this shit.
No, and I think more people need to be talking about it. More people need to be hearing about it. More people need to be considering it. More people need to be listening to it. So it's an important one. But I do want to get into, kind of the biggest lessons you've learned as an outdoorsman over the last, couple years. And obviously we could, you could take that back as far as you want, from the time I started out when I was 12, I've learned a lot. Don't throw sticks while you're hunting. Don't throw rocks while you're hunting. Like those are the types of things I learned when I was a kid. Don't listen to music over the loudspeaker of your phone while you're hunting. Like, you don't see many deer. But over the last few seasons, man, what's been those kind of big lessons that you've learned?
Just trying to slow down, man. Like, I don't know, just, I'm a busy fella. I got a lot going on, like a lot of us do. And hunting has been something where like, that is my moment to be as slow as possible and try to freeze time a little bit. I don't know if that's like a lesson or whatever, but make sure when you put your bow beside a tree and you go to tow it up, that it's in a spot that's not going to pull your sticks out from under you. So you don't have to jump out of the tree later. That's a problem.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And your positioning of where you put yourself in your tree, I still battle with that every damn time. I overthink it every damn time. I'm like mostly wrong. I've missed out on shooting really good deer because like, I just put myself in an awkward spot in the tree that didn't assume like the lean or where a deer ought to come from. And I'm fighting with all sorts of weird branches. Like I really make things hard for myself. I really am who I say I am. I am the okayest hunter. I make a lot of stupid mistakes. I try to learn from them as best I can. And even with that awareness, I still find ways to like find new problems that I didn't experience yet. Speaking of modern day social media, going backwards, my dad, the first buck I ever got, I was 24 with a shotgun from the ground, and we're doing a grip and grin photo with it. He's like, well, take the picture before you gut it, wipe the blood off his mouth, clean him up a little bit, and take the photo. And that was before things were shared to the internet, really, for the most part. And that was just because we were going to share that photo with family, and he wanted that deer to look presentable so that people, and a lot of some of the family know we hunt, but they don't. And they're proud of the deer we got. They don't know anything about hunting or the category, the industry, or any of the stuff. But it would be weird for them to see a really like mangled photo. Yeah. And I was like, I'm thinking about that right now. And I'm like, take care and respect and pride for the animal. And if you're going to post it, please don't post these pictures with a deer with an arrow stuck in it, just open to the public. Like it's different if you're trying to like evaluate your shot and you're trying to track the deer and you're sharing with a group message with your hunting buddies. That doesn't need to go out on the internet. Like there's some of these people that are just posting weird, gruesome photos with no context or story. And that's a bad look. To give the animal some damn respect. And if you never been taught that, you wouldn't know. Maybe I was taught that. So I'm sharing that information.
And to those guys, like you're asking to be scrutinized. Like you're asking for people to come out of the woodworks and tell you how sick and twisted you are for shooting animals. Like you're begging. Like, dude, I hated, and it was a few years ago now, but that trend of people riding the deer. Do you remember that?
Yeah. And there's also like the laying with the smile, like a selfie. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah. That's like laying beside it. I'm like, guys, this isn't, God, you just took a life, dude. Like,
right.
And there's some magnitude behind that. There's some respect that needs to come with that. But also, again, going back to this, we have to worry about the percentage of people out there that aren't hunters, but aren't against us hunting, because there's going to be a day where we need their vote. I can assure you of that. There's going to be a day where they need their vote. And when they're sitting at the ballot box, I want them to have a picture of a well-respected, somebody who cares about the animal, somebody who shows respect to the animal, not somebody who's laying next to it, not somebody who puts the duck bill in their mouth, not somebody who sits on their deer, not somebody who rides their deer down a hill after it's dead, like somebody who has showed respect to the animal. And to a certain degree, man, you are asking people to scrutinize you. Like you know, and we're not talking about size here. You're asking people to scrutinize you for what you do, like for just being an idiot.
If a doctor told you you have a 5% chance to live and a 95% chance of dying, it'd be a really bad diagnosis. There are, from what I can recall, only 5% of our United States population hunt. 95% don't. And that's before I split it into people that are actively against hunting or neutral. 5%. That's a pretty low life expectancy. If I'm getting diagnosed with a 5% chance to live, 5% of us hunt. It's a problem. Like, dude.
Yeah.
If I had make some changes power or not, if I was part of the majority of 95% of something, I'd be like, are you going to invest in a stock that's got a 95% chance of like filing for bankruptcy next year? You know what I mean? Like, you just make some wide sweeping decisions. Like, we're just going to get rid of that, right? That's 5%. Like, we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, man. I've never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. But the majority of that 95%, just because they don't hunt, they're not closed off the idea of hunting. And correct. Although they don't want to do it, they're fine with other people doing it.
Yeah.
And again, we're not, we have to recognize, like, I'm never going to create all of them into hunters, and that's honestly not my goal. My goal is for them to have a good view of hunting, to have a healthy view of what hunting truly does for the animals, of what hunting truly does for the habitat. So when it's time to vote, they're going to vote in our favor, because although they're not hunters, they see the value in what we as hunters do.
Agree.
Man, to your point though, like, that was a lesson I learned this year about just setting, like, I'm in the right tree, but I'm facing the wrong way. Like, yeah. That's and that's where you're like, man, all these saddle hunters that I make fun of for wearing tree diapers, maybe they're not wrong, because they can swing around the tree and get in a different position. I'm still not going to wear a tree diaper. Don't nobody get that idea. I'm just, are you a saddle hunter?
I'm both, man. It's just a different tool for the job that you're trying to do.
I'm sorry.
If you just go into a house and you don't have all the tools for the job, you might not get it done. Like, I enjoy it. There's a time and a place for a tree stand too. Like, I'm not going to knock either. Honestly, it's a good thing.
Well, going back to like not shaming people, I'm going to continue to shame saddle hunters.
It's okay. And we can also like give each other shit. Like, again, I'm not trying to paint this picture that we're a bunch of like Sally bitches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're not sitting around singing Kumbaya and holding hands, and there's no,
we all get along, guys. This is Okayest Hunter. That's not what we're doing here. But it's like, you don't have to go out of the way to be an asshole either. And
you should put like some unicorns and cupcakes on a shirt or something. I don't know, like let's all just sing a song and get along. Gosh. I don't know. I'm kidding, out. But no, I do give saddle hunters crap, and I do give turkey hunters crap, and I do give crossbow hunters crap. But like, again, it's all, I'm never going to. And here's where you have to
whatever. Yeah,
I could actually care less. I couldn't care less. Whichever one it is. But I'm also not going to comment on somebody's Facebook post and I don't know them at all. I don't know they don't know me at all, and say, I can't believe you hunt in a tree saddle. What an idiot, dude. Does anybody know that you look like a baby and a bouncer up there? Like I'm never going to do that to somebody, because they don't know me, and they might take that serious. Like, I'm going to do that to you, or I'm going to do that to other friends and buddies who know I'm poking fun at them and having fun with them. I'm not just doing it maliciously and being a jerk. And that's where you have to know how to draw the line. Like, you have to know where to say, like, okay, well, this could be taken out of context. Like, this could be viewed differently. And can I be honest with you? I'm not even going to do it. I'm not even going to do it on your post for the public to see. Because again, a lot of people are going to see that don't know me, that don't know that we have a relationship and that I can joke with you. And and then somebody's going to be like, man, look at this guy. Like, what an idiot. And again, going back to your point of like, then people have this negative perception of you. Then people are automatically going to assume like, oh, Dylan Ray, typical sportsman, he's a jerk, dude. Like, that guy just badmouths everybody and bashes everybody. Like, I was joking. Eric's a buddy. Like, he knows I don't actually think that about him. Like, everybody knows I don't actually think that about people. But again, you're going back to the way that you represent yourself on social media to the general public for everybody to see. Like, I don't make those kind of comments. And like, I don't.
That reputation is currency, or at least it should be. And some people don't treat it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And I do want to go back to that reputation talk, actually. And I want to go on a little bit of rant here for a second because, man, it's frustrating to me when somebody immediately writes somebody off and just says like, oh, I hate that guy. Like, I can't stand that guy. Why? Oh, man, just the way he talks on social media. And I'm like, you do know that's probably not his real, like, that's probably not who he is. Like, it's probably not, he's doing this for social media. Like, but again, so many people see that first layer and they're like, that guy's an idiot. I hate him. He's such a jerk. Like, no, actually, I've met the guy and he's incredibly kind. Like, he would do anything for anybody. He's very thoughtful. He's very, and so I just want to encourage people not to like look at somebody and just immediately write them off. I have been incredibly guilty of that. And I've even been humbled in public about that. Like, we were doing a podcast one time. Do you know Scott Evans, Bow Boy?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say good dude. He's kind of an idiot. He got me in trouble. We were doing a podcast like midnight.
Okay.
We were getting a podcast like midnight, and I'm getting texts from other people in the industry, and they're like, it was a TikTok live podcast. I'm getting texts from like from like sponsors, and like, did Scotty really just say this on TikTok live? And I'm like, oh yeah, he did. Like, that's your fire to put out, not ours. Anyways, no, but we were talking, and the question was submitted: who's the most controversial hunter? That question was a question they wanted me to answer, and I gave my answers. And I took the standpoint of like, I view the most controversial people in the industry as like Ranch Fairy, not because he's like a bad guy, but because he takes such a strong stance on an issue of heavy arrows versus light arrows. The guys who say like 100%, it's always fixed blades, never mechanicals. Like that's the controversial guys. The guys who break the law and do something wrong, I don't view them as controversial. They broke the law. There's nothing controversial about that. They poached, they messed up. And I began to talk bad about Josh Bomar. And I'd never have met Josh. I don't know Josh. And Scott humbled me on a TikTok live and was like, dude, Josh is a great guy, man. Like, started telling me about him and about and I'm like, okay, well, I apologize. Like, I took surface value of like what I've heard and what I've seen on social media, and I built this persona of him. And I'm sorry. Like, I'll admit that. But yeah, I just want to encourage people not to look at somebody and say like, oh, Eric, dude, like he puts a Forky on his hat. Like, he's not a serious hunter. Like, no, peel back the layers and learn what he's actually saying, and you'll actually really respect it, Yeah.
Well, the antler is a representation of like, there's some layers just even on the logo itself. It's meant to denote that the hunt means more than the antler. Every damn company has big antlers and then logos. Not everyone. Everyone that has an antler logo has a big one. We're the only one with a small one, and it's meant to like flip it on its head and be like, hunting means more than the antler. That's why we have a little one, to really kind of show that. Plus, it's funny. I think, rancher's polarizing, and when someone's polarizing, if you attach your cart to that horse, then you just kind of like removed half the people that would have appreciated what you're doing. I think I agree on poachers, and Bomar is controversial because I think he has shed I think from a human standpoint, he's probably a fine fella. He thinks he's a really smart guy. He's huge. And I did meet him in person at the Iowa Deer Classic, and he was super kind. We watched his kids at our booth because his wife was waiting for him to get done talking to other people. The guy couldn't take 2 steps without getting stopped down the aisle. And he was incredibly kind. He complimented us, and then he bought a grunt tube from us. I'm not sure if he ever used it. So I'm not going to judge the human, but I will say like he has potentially put hunting in a interesting light to the public because he does such crass things. So it's like, dude, when you have a large following, there's some responsibility that ought to come with that. That's what I'm trying to learn as we kind of grow here a little bit is like, what responsibility am I responsible for as we have this platform? I want to be a good steward of it. So I'm conscious of it. I'm going to make mistakes. Of course I am. I make mistakes all the time, but like, I'm trying to do good. I would imagine he's probably trying to do good. And money helps you do greater good. Unfortunately, like money solves problems. It can go to conservation. Money can do some good things. Patagonia proved that as a business model a long time ago, that like a business can do good things with the money that it has. So yeah, there's a lot to, I agree. I think with everything you're saying,
and I will say this, and I said this on that episode, and just to get real for a minute, like I understand that, and listen, I hate poaching as much as anybody.
Yeah.
This is our natural resource. This is the animal that I care about so immensely. This is the animal that I put so much work into helping preserve, promote, and protect their future and their habitat and their life. And then you drive out with the spotlight. I hate the idea of poaching as much as anybody. And I had never been faced with something. And listen, I'm just going to be as frank as I can. And I'm going to say names, and and I hope I don't get in trouble by anybody. I'd never been faced with something like Matt Jennings, who is a friend of mine, being scrutinized the way he was, being put down the way he was. And so I made the public statement on that podcast that, like, I don't condone what Matt did at all. He messed up. He broke the law. He needs to face the consequences for that. However, man, I've made mistakes too. Like, I've done a lot of stupid things. And the difference was his was blasted on CNN and Meat Eater and, every live channel there is, and the world was shown about it. I've made mistakes. I've done things wrong. And again, I don't condone what Matt did. I'm not saying what he did is okay. I'm not saying that he is justified in doing that. And I've told him all of this. We have spent hours on the phone since then. And I've told him all of this, but listen, man, that doesn't define you. That doesn't make you who you are. Like, you messed up, get up, make changes, do things differently, and keep going. Like, and so I do want to say, like, while I don't condone any poaching ever, I will never say like, hey, let's not be mean to them. They broke the law. The amount of comments that are like, oh, dude, somebody's going to march in and kill your family. Like, seriously, stop. Like, that's enough. I mean, he's got sons, he's got children, he's got a wife. Like, those kind of comments have got to stop. Like, I know he made a mistake.
The best revenge is to not be like that person who committed the thing against you, whether it was against you or just in general. Like, the best revenge is just to stop putting more shit into the world. Go do better than that person. And you probably already are. Poaching is not a good thing. I agree too. Like, if someone's hunting, it's a small fraction of their life. I mean, some of us, it's their whole life. I'd argue that it takes a big chunk of mine, but dude, I do stuff with my family. Like, I participate in other activities. Hunting isn't the literal only thing I do. It doesn't make up 99% of my identity. And heaven forbid I ever make some sort of mistake like that. I hope I don't. I can't imagine I would. But if I did, it's like, well, I'm probably going to be done in this industry, and I probably won't have a lot of friends left here that are going to like ever bring me on a platform like this or others. But I'm still a human that has to go live. Like, I'm going to be judged at the pearly gates. I'm not going to like cast this guy into purgatory. It's not my job to judge him. Like, I'm just not going to talk to him about hunting ever again in a public way.
Yeah. Well, and so that was my point, was like, and again, hear my heart when I say this, not supporting them in what they did, but
Correct.
supporting them as a person, supporting them in restoration, supporting them in like, hey man, let's get back up on your feet. Let's learn from this. What
kind of friend would you be if you're like, "Foo, man, you screwed up. I'm out." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, how about be a good human first? Like,
right.
That's bad. I need to distance myself from this, by the way, but like, I'm here for you if you really do need something.
100%. Yeah. And that's just the point I wanted to make, was like, not to just write somebody off as a person and say like, well, you made a mistake. You're a terrible, wretched human being. I hope your family dies in a car crash. Like, really?
Weird.
Like,
behavior. Yeah. It's not normal. It's not okay.
Because they made a mistake. Like, again, I'm not supporting him in what he did. I'm supporting him as a person and saying like, dude, you're not,
Well, Jesus said it best when was it someone's going to get stoned, and he's like, well, you can throw the first stone if you haven't sinned.
Yeah.
No one threw the stone. Like, okay, let's go evaluate your life real quick. I bet you we'll find some shit.
Right. And again,
let's really talk about that. Like, it may not have to do with deer hunting, but like, everyone's got stuff, man.
Yeah. And the first thing somebody's going to say is like, yeah, well, I've never poached. Like, okay, he broke the law. I'm not saying he didn't, but you also got arrested for drunk driving 2 years ago. Like, are we here to say like you don't deserve a family anymore because you did that? You don't deserve to ever drive a car again because you did that?
Mean, I would argue drunk driving is worse. So
again, like, I don't know why I felt inclined to say that. But I guess just going back to the whole idea of like this image that we see of people online doesn't always show the full picture. Doesn't always tell the full story about that person. And so I would encourage people not to just write somebody off and say like, well, yeah, that person though, that dude, they always hunt private land, farms and tower blinds over feeders. Like, they're not real hunters. Like, okay, that's what you see on social media. But what about, the hunts they don't show where they're going into the backcountry and chasing elk for 27 days? Like, what about those hunts? Like, and again, maybe that's not a good example, but I'm just saying that the Eric Clarks and the people who have that voice to not, the working class bow hunters, to not say this dude's tatted up with gauges in his ears and they're just sitting around a table drinking too much beer at night, wanting to talk hunting. Like, yeah, but they're serious hunters and they're cool dudes and they're good dudes, So let's look at the people, not just the one picture we see and say, I don't like that guy.
And if you don't, then so what? Like, then move on. I'm not asking people to follow me. I don't really, what I mean? Like, if you don't like our shit, that's fine. You don't have to. There's people that probably don't. There's probably people that like we annoy. I'm sure we annoy people. I'm sure people are
I've unfollowed you on every channel.
Another freaking Okayest Hunter post, I'm out, but
yeah,
that's fine. That's part of it. I had something else I was going to say there. And I don't remember what it was, but I will tell you that what you see is what you get with me. Like, I'm not a paid actor. I don't know how to act. Anything you see from me is genuinely 100% me, but you're not seeing my whole life. I'm also not going to show everybody every part of my life. Like, the life that I live right now is a level of stress that I'm like close to breaking under. It's insane. I said this the other day, I think on our podcast, I was like, Grandpa had it hard, right? They had a hard job. They're hard men. They did hard things. And, we're weak now. I'm like, oh, let's talk about that for a second, because Grandpa didn't work 4 fucking jobs. He didn't have 2 side hustles and a day job. He wasn't changing diapers and folding laundry and doing dishes and like taking kids to school and, picking him up in the middle of his workday and like trying to juggle all this stuff. And also, like, we're accessible 24/7. I don't turn this shit off. It comes at me all the time. It's really hard. So like, people don't see that. You know what I mean? I don't even know how I would show all of that. Like, yeah. So who's weak? I mean, I'm not weak. Our brand isn't weak. I promise you.
Just do a time lapse of a week and show it.
It's insane, dude. And a lot of guys are going through that stuff, man. So that's not just me. It's just, but when you do see me in these environments or whatever, like, you're seeing Eric Clark. I'm really holding back too much.
Yeah. No, I've struggled with that idea too, of like, God, dude, Grandpa was out, baling hay and,
that's all he had to do. He was baling the hay and he did the job. Like, if I could just go and do the work and then be done with the work and go to the bar.
And again, I'm not saying anything against Grandpa. Like, he did work hard. He did work hard. But I've struggled with that too, of like, man, I work from home on a computer, dude. Like, I don't have the right to be tired. Like, I've thought that in my mind. And then, like, same as you, I'm like, well, I mean, just Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, just Wednesday, at 8:40 a.m., like, get the phone call from the school of like, got to come pick the kid up. He's sick. So it's like, all right. So now you're doing the work on the computer, taking care of the sick kid, taking care of the phone calls. You hear throw up and diarrhea in the background. You're like, hold on just a second. Put the phone down, go clean that up. Like, it's a different kind of stress. It's a different kind of work. Like, yeah. And I don't even know how we got on that topic, but you're right.
Yeah. Cause I'm just thinking about this.
You're right.
Therapy session, man, this whole episode.
Well,
and the background you got, the chair, like, you're my therapist today, buddy. Thank you.
How does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? Yeah, that's the question right there. Real good, I guess.
Yeah. So what's next for Okayest Hunter, man? What can they expect to see coming up?
I'm trying to like get a beat on that. It's tough. Like we're looking about a year ahead if we can, but the growth is continuing to happen organically. We're not forcing stuff. If it's not a fit, it's not forced. So if it comes our way and if it's logical and it fits and it makes sense, we're not going to be full of bullshit or shit, then we will do it. Trying to build into the studio space, continuing to bulk up our podcast network. I say bulk because we're pouring into the people that are already there. We're not looking at adding on 10 more or something. I'm not interested in just growth for growth's sake. We're trying to be really deliberate about taking care of our people. Trying to
tell us about that, man. You've got a whole network of Okayest podcasts.
Yeah, we have, I think, 12 or 13 shows on our network, and most of them embody and imbue and understand our thesis, our mission. They agree with it. They came to us. Like, we didn't go out and like knock on doors and we want to be on our network. Like, they liked what we were doing. They appreciated the message and they wanted to jump in. And so everyone's kind of rowing the same direction, but the network itself is just hub and spoke of different categories in the outdoor space. So we're not just whitetail hunting. We're also, waterfowl and upland and dog training and Western hunting and cooking and bowyer making and trapping and, strength and fitness in the backcountry. Like, we're all these different things. So fishing as well. Like, we're trying to take our message, this egoless, humble, humility note, and bring it to the other places as well.
That's cool, man. What's a couple of your, I don't want to say couple, because then you're going to have hosts be like, why'd you pick them? No.
No, that's like, I remember all my groomsmen when I had to list them off at one time. So I was like, it's just how I am. Hope no people know me good enough to hopefully not be offended. Bowyer's been doing an exceptional job, and I think it's because it's super niche. He's talking about.
So is it Okayest Bowyer?
It's just Bowyer.
Okay.
And he's a former Marine, who I guess once always. Super smart fella, really, really humble guy. Matt Morris, he builds his own bows, and he's a maker. So he'll tell you about the type of tree in a certain part of the country and what that wood will turn into and how it'll become a bow, whether it's good or bad. But he is very much an Okayest Bowyer, and will say so himself, but don't let him flee. He's super smart. And that's why I think I value that, is because he is so smart, but he won't make you think that. He won't make you feel bad about anything you're doing. He'll humble himself right along with the best of them. Same thing with the Trapper podcast. Same thing with the Powderhorn Okayest Shooter podcast. Like, all these guys are really, really good at what they do, but they're really, really humble. And that's something that I really value and appreciate. Like, Derek, who does the Okayest Hunter podcast with us, I'd put him as a whitetail killer next to Bo Martonic and Mark Kenyon and all these guys. I would put him right there along those ranks, but he's never gonna be an asshole to anybody or make someone feel bad for what they've done. Like, he'll help you, he'll teach you, he'll be an exemplar right there with you. So that kind of mantra is important to me. It's like, if I was gonna go take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I hope the instructor wouldn't just kick my ass every day and make me feel bad about myself. I hope that he would use the skill to teach me and make me feel confident, knowing he could kick my ass. I would want to learn from him. You know what I mean? That's kind of the I don't know how to like distill that down or articulate it well, but so what's on the horizon for us is just try to like pay attention to how we're impacting things, be good stewards of the platform that we've kind of built, and make positivity louder and grow where it makes sense in ways that hopefully we can survive as a company, because we're a business, and it's like managing cash flow is really hard in a seasonal business. Like, I'm still trying to learn as a business owner. It's really tricky stuff.
Yeah. That's cool, man. We had talked at one point about, about doing some stuff together, and we need to get those conversations going again and seeing if there's any room to do stuff there. Excited to see you at ATA, man. Excited to hang out. And show season sucks because you're away from the family, you're on the road. But it's also a great time because you get to see friends that you never get to see all year long, and
get to see all your digital.
So I'm excited.
The best. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to get there. And I believe the first time we ever met was at ATA.
Right.
If I remember correctly. And that's what's so cool about these shows. Like, the first time I ever met, the Raised Hunting crew, and at the time they were at Bear, I was at Bear. So we'd done podcasts together, but I never met them. And this was the first ATA back from COVID. And so, travel was, you still had to in the airport have masks on. And so I've got this mask on, and across the train, this guy lowers his mask and like looks at me, like makes eye contact with me. And I'm like, pull my mask down. I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, I didn't even see you at the show, but now we're running into each other at the airport. Like, it's cool to get to see all these people and just, shake hands and hang out for a bit. So I'm excited to see you at ATA, man. And if you're going to be at ATA, because this is the first year it's open to the general public. So if you're in the area, I would swing over and check out the show. Where can they come find you at ATA?
Oh man, I'm just wandering around. I don't have a booth. I'm just there as media, be buzzing around. Looking forward to dinner with some buddies and saying hi to the folks that I know. I'll probably hang out at the Latitude booth for a bit because I'm close with those guys. And then whoever else I can stop by and say hi to. So if you see me, say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. It really is, going back to just the encouraging piece. I've tried to wrap this up 7 times, but going back to the encouraging piece, it really is for us guys in the industry. It really is encouraging for people to come up and shake our hands and just say hi. It means a lot. It really does. So don't be afraid to come say hi, shake hands. Eric will be signing autographs. If you're not carrying paper, he loves signing foreheads. He'll sign your baby, whatever you want. So find him, get the autograph. If you've got taxidermy in your house, any shape, form, or fashion, doesn't matter. Euro mounts, full body mounts, turkey fans, I don't care. If you've got any kind of taxidermy, or if you want to prep your animals in the field in order to get the best taxidermy work done possible, you need to check out Velvet Antler Technologies. Listen, it is not just for velvet antlers. Do not tune me out and say, well, I don't chase velvet bucks. I don't kill velvet bulls. It does not matter. If you want to preserve your trophies in the field, whitetail, antelope, bear hides, if you want to preserve your trophy in the field and get it to the taxidermist in the best shape possible, they've got products for that. If you want to get those European mounts as white as possible, they've got products for that. If you want to take care of your trophies while they're on the wall, keep them clean, keep the bugs out of them, they've got products for that. If you've got blood in your clothes from packing out those animals, they've got you covered. Or if you want to do some turkey fans, they've got you covered. Hanging the Euro mounts on the wall, they've got you covered. They're your one-stop shop for all things trophies and all things field care in order to get your trophies looking the best they can. Guys, go check out Velvet Antler Technologies before you go on your next hunt and ensure you get your trophy back in the best condition possible. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Everyone have a fantastic week and keep the dusty side up.